At some point in my life, very young, I found myself doing a substance every day and hiding it from others. I didn't know I was a drug addict. I thought I was just doing what I was doing. I like to do the forbidden things secretly. And I thought the world, my family specifically, had a problem with that. And I thought the school had a problem with that. And I thought neighbors had a problem with that. So I wasn't doing what I was doing openly and, being proud of it. At a very young age, I found out that certain things that I was doing was not okay. And I found the people that were doing the same thing to do these things with, so I can belong, at least to justify my wrongdoing, by others. Eventually, the little things became bigger things and bigger things and bigger things. At some point in my life, I found myself needing a substance to use in order to be able to function. It wasn't just a matter of partying anymore, because party had been over long ago. To me, a party is like having music, dancing, having fun, jumping up and down, and leaving in a good feeling. But my thing was doing the substance in the bathroom by myself with blood all over myself and throwing up, sometimes waking up by others in tears. So what I was doing was not a party at a very young age. And I knew for a fact that what I was doing was the wrong thing to do. But I didn't have any power to stop that. I remember at the age of 17, my mother found heroin in my pocket. And she freaked out. And that event brought misery into my entire family. Fights between my mom and dad started happening. Fights between me and my brother started happening. The family fucking... Can we say fuck in this convention? Brought a lot of misery into my family. In everything around me, basically. Into my school and everything that I had anything to do with. That particular event, my mother finding the substance in my pocket. She was like the whole world, but not my little boy. He had everything he wanted. And they started putting the things on themselves, like, what did we do wrong? Nothing. I started putting the blames on them, like, if you hadn't done this, I wouldn't have been a drug addict. If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have been a drug addict. If you were married to some other guy except that, I wouldn't be a drug addict. I wouldn't have been born. But, many years later, I had to tell my parents, my mother, my dad had died, my mom that I had come down with HIV. That was easier to tell my mother that I have a heroin habit. So, I don't know how that is, but it was much easier to tell my mother that I'm HIV positive than for her to find a bag of heroin in her 17-year-old son's pocket. She didn't freak out as bad. And they tried everything, every single possible way to get me cured. Every single possible way. I remember going to psychiatrists, psychologists, doctors, treatment centers, acupuncture, methadone clinics. And I can't say that every time, I was on the way to go to get these helps, I wasn't willing to stop using. Because the first time I saw that tear in my mother's eyes, I love my mother. My mother is sort of like my God. Every single time I saw the pain that I had created by my action and my addiction in their faces, I wanted to quit using. But as soon as I found $20, the desire to stop using was gone. And as soon as I started hurting physically and needing physically the substance, the desire to stop using was gone. That means, like, I sold my parents over my drug. I gave my promises up. I lost my integrity. I lost my words. At a very young age, to the substance that I needed in order to be able to function. So it wasn't a party anymore. The party had long been over. But I didn't know all these things. I never sat down and thought about it. No one had ever sat me down and said, listen, you have a goddamn disease. I'm the same way you are, and together we can do it. No one ever. That's simple. And at a very young age, I was sent away from my country in order to be able... They put me away so they wouldn't have to deal with me. You know, as long as he's away, the embarrassment is gone. You know, just like put the shame under the rug, you know. And as soon as I was sent away, my freedom started because I didn't have to report to anybody. You know, at the age of 17 and a half, 18, I was free. I was getting money, living in Europe, not going to school, living a street life. And I was getting arrested, staying in jail for a week or two or a month or so. Nobody knew about it, so I was cool. And that was the freedom that I ever wanted, that I always wanted to have. And I thought, kids my age don't have this. I'm cool. You know, and I don't know what happened. The disease progressed to the point that, well, I came to America back in 1982. You know, all these places that I had gone, so many different cultures, so many different countries, so many different languages, I didn't need any skill to find the drug that I needed. Not even the language. And I don't know how in the hell I found it. You know, I go to some places that speak English, and I speak proper English. Sometimes I have a problem finding a restaurant today. But I found dope every place I went, within sometimes minutes. So I was driven by my addiction without even knowing that. You know, chain on my neck and being pulled. I came here, and about a year later I was homeless. I was hanging out with my girlfriend at that time, doing drugs, and she was selling her body, and I was doing things that I never thought I would be doing. 1984, I overdosed on heroin, and they took me to Alexandria Hospital in Virginia. I was upstairs in the psych ward, and they put me in the room, and I saw these people having meetings. All the other patients were getting together, having meetings, talking to each other and everything else, and I was wondering why they don't put me out with these people. And every time a doctor or a nurse came in, they had a mask on. I thought, oh my God, I have some kind of contagious disease. They don't want to tell me what it is. Day 3, I asked this nurse, I was like, what is this? What do I have? Why don't you guys put me with others? Why is everybody wearing a mask when they come to my room? She said, you want to know something? You stink. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that I hadn't taken a shower for I don't know how long. I didn't even know I stunk. That bad that people didn't want to be around me. There was a doctor there. On day like 10, 11, he told me, go downstairs, there's a meeting that people like you are talking to each other, and you may get something out of it. I went downstairs, I didn't get shit out of what they were saying. I didn't even understand what this was all about, or nothing. When I was being released out of that facility, the doctor was a really nice guy. I never forget him. Never. His name was Dr. Pepper. Seriously, if you've been to Alexandria Hospital in the psych ward, Dr. Pepper is a really nice guy that cares about his patients. That's what they called him. Doctor, I don't want to, bring up his first name because it's an anonymous program, so. He gave me a list of NA meetings to go to in the district. I came out broke, had nowhere to go, disowned by my family, abandoned by everybody that I've ever been in contact with. I had burned a lot of bridges. Every place I ever worked, I burned them and I stole from them. So I didn't have anywhere to go. It was like 7 o'clock in the afternoon, and I looked at this list. I was like, and I had been going to these churches and, and social places, getting anything they had to offer, money, checks, food. I thought, okay, I can get something out of this place too. After all, the list of these places. So I walked into one of these meetings. It was being held in D.C. at Georgetown University Hospital in the 3rd floor. I walked into that room. There were 2 people jumped on me and hugged me. I was like, stay the hell away. What do these people want? And they're weird. But I had milked weird people before, so they were like easy targets, like cool. They're stupid enough to hug me. They should be stupid enough to give me money. I sat through the meeting. At the end of the meeting, on the way down in the elevator, in fact, the guy was here. I was hanging out with him, today. He's a very good friend of mine today. And on the way down, I asked him. I said, "Does this program offer any financial help, or a place to stay, or a job?" I put that place to stay and a job in there in case he thinks I'm kind of like half serious. He said, "Yes, we do." I was cool. I'm in the right place. And I said, "What do I have to do?" He said, "Nothing. You just go with me." On the way to his place, there was a guy who had long hair and, kind of really nice, very soft-speaking kind of guy. And I was like, I wonder what he wants. He took me to his apartment. He said, "You're staying here. That's the place I told you we offer. This is my couch. You can stay in this couch." And then he went to his bedroom to sleep. I sat on that couch. I said, I wonder what he wants. And a minute later, I said, whatever he wants, I'll give it to him for a place to stay. And I was willing to do anything he would have asked me for a warm place to stay. Nothing happened. He woke up the next day. He said, "We have cereal and milk." I was like, cool. And I was with him for 2 days. The 3rd day, he said, "I'm going out of country. This is the key to my apartment. And I get newspapers every morning. Look for a job." Nobody has ever trusted me that much, even my own family. Everyone who ever trusted me, way less than this, I had burned them. I heard somebody was saying in the same room here, the last meeting, "I didn't have to wait for you to turn your back. You turned your head, I stole your shit." And I looked like I was around here somewhere. Like we all do. And I was broke, but there was food there. I remember for the first time during my active addiction, I didn't want to steal. I didn't have cigarettes. I used to go outside next to the elevator and take cigarette butts out of people's cigarette butts and smoke those. And he had a lot of money, a lot of coins and dollar bills in a little jar. And I didn't want to take any money out of that. And later on I found out that was the money that he was the treasurer of some meeting. And I didn't take anything. For the first time, I don't know, I'm the same person here now. 3 days later. And I didn't come here intending to be honest. And I found a job. No-end job. And I started working. He came back. I had enough money to move into a group home, and I lived there. And I was doing great. I was going to a meeting. And as a newcomer, I was the king of that area. I swear to God, man, people were like feeding me. They were hugging me every single time. If I was 2 minutes late to the meeting, they were like, "Good to see you. Where have you been? Do you need anything? Do you need a ride? I was like, whoa. I was the king. I felt like one for being a newcomer. They treated me like a newcomer is supposed to be treated, man. And I was having fun. I was like, man, these people are cool. They are good people. And I had intention to do what they required me to do, just show up. And I was showing up. Don't use. And I wasn't using. And I wasn't using not because I didn't want to use. I wasn't using because I didn't want to betray these people. Not because I still loved shooting dope. I was waiting to get my 60-day chip so I can go celebrate. But I wasn't going to do it till then because I didn't want to betray you people. Because you guys were so nice to me. for the first time ever, without asking me for anything. And I thought I had it, man. I had it. This is it. I can get this thing so easily because I walked in here. Now, next thing you know, I'm 30 days clean. And I have everything. I have so many friends who love me to death. I got my 60-day chip. And I went out and I had reservations to go out and celebrate. For 60 days, I'd had reservations. I planned that date. On the calendar, my eye was on that date to go do something cool. You know, I didn't want to go do heavy drugs and shoot dope or anything, but I was like, I'll go buy a 6-pack of near beer. I got to celebrate somehow. I can't do water. No one bought a 6-pack of near beer, took it home, and I drank it, and then nothing happened. Next one I went there, got another 6-pack, nothing happened, stomach ache. I said I'm going to get some real beer. Well, and took the first sip. I said, what the hell did I do? 2 hours later, I'm downtown coughing. And I came to the meeting, didn't tell anybody. And you guys didn't change. People were treating me the same exact way, but I felt so guilty and so ashamed that I couldn't look at anybody's face. Like betraying my mother. Wow, I'm so powerful the lights went off. Maybe I should have stopped lying. I don't know. I'm worried about my tape. I'm just kidding. What happened was that I stopped coming to meetings because of whatever it was. Shame, anger, guilt, hate. I came back around and people were nice to me. They treated me as if nothing ever happened. Start shit all over again. I was the king of my area all over again. This time, being clean for 30 days, I met this woman. She had about maybe 20 days clean. We started hanging out. Recovery and staying clean was the last thing we had to talk about because neither one of us knew a goddamn thing about recovery. So the only thing we had in common, the only thing we knew what to talk about was dope and copping and war stories and good dope and bad dope and all the other things. Next thing you know, a week later, we're out there using together. And the way it happened was that we started criticizing people in the program. Old-timers. Do you know that guy? Yeah, fuck him. Do you know that woman? Yeah, fuck her. My sponsor? What the hell with him? He's a lying, hypocrite motherfucker. You know her? Yeah, she's an asshole. I asked her for $20. She said no. Those people were assholes when they were clean. And yet we're here sitting in an abandoned building shooting dope, feeling good about ourselves. We're better than those assholes clean in the meetings. Today I'm one of those assholes. And I became somebody that, you know, we see it all the time. In and out of these rooms. In and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. I used to come to meetings for, you know, a warm cup of coffee sometimes. And an hour of warm place to stay in. With no intention of staying clean. I used to come to meetings to hang out with clean people. It's pretty miserable when you go out there and shoot dope and you have nowhere to hang out with. And you come to NA meetings to hang out with people who are clean. And nobody ever told me not to come back. Nobody. You know, my family had closed doors on me, locked the doors on me, reported me to, you know, to like a neighborhood crime watch things. But people in NA didn't do anything. Nothing. Come on back. What are you doing tomorrow? Do you need a ride? I'll pick you up. You show up to a meeting, I guarantee you, I promise you have a ride home. You just show up to the goddamn meeting. And I didn't listen. I thought this thing was a joke. And I had been places that was pretty scary and bad. But the first guy who ever hugged me, I stayed in contact with him all through these years. And he was my sponsor the first day he took me home. And he remained my sponsor even when I was out there using. Because I used to call them asking, "Will you still my sponsor?" "Yes." "Can I come and get $10? "No." "You still my sponsor?" "Yes." "Can you bail me out?" "No." But I was talking to somebody when we went out to eat together, and he's a newcomer, and we were, hanging out before this meeting. And I told him if it wasn't for that guy, I wouldn't want to come to those meetings. Because every single time I came here, he was there and he was nice to me. There were people who, every time I picked up a white chip, they said, "Don't give it to him." I mean, he comes in here, drinks our coffee, sometimes even takes money out of our basket. And he's got probably about 100 white chips. But even those people didn't tell me not to come back. But this playing with this, coming and going, coming and going, coming and going, got me to places that I never thought existed. And made me do things that I never thought I would have done. And things happened to me that I never thought it would have happened. And I found myself handcuffed to the bed, coming out of an overdose with, being presented with almost exactly 42 felony warrants. And I wanted to die. And I went to jail, I went to prison. And in prison, when I was in there, there were people out here who cared about newcomers in there. And they came in there, and they brought the message of Narcotics Anonymous. And they told every one of us that you too can do it. You don't have to be free. I mean, there was a thing going on in there that I don't need these NA meetings in prison. There ain't no dope in here. And I stayed in contact with people in the program through collect calls. And again, nobody ever told me not to call collect or not to call. And I call people every day. And they accepted my calls and they talked to me on the phone. One of my questions was that these people say that you don't need a program when there's no dope. And the answer was that if you don't have a foundation, you can't stay clean when there is dope. So I started going to meetings. And there was few people that brought the meetings into those facilities. And up until today, I've been clean for over 10 years now. And up until today, I remember those people. Every single time I see them, I say, thank you. I'm not going to stand here and talk about how I treat the newcomer. I'm saying how they treated me when I was a newcomer. And if I do 1/10 of what they did for me, for a newcomer, I'm a perfect guy. At least that's how I would feel. And, there aren't that many of us from 10 years ago. I mean, I see, unfortunately, not many of us stay clean. I don't know how many one stays clean. There's only maybe 10 or 15 people that I'm really close with that have 10 years clean or 15 years clean or 12 years clean. All my friends that I'm really, really, really close to, they all have come after me. And at some point in my life, they were newcomers. And today, they're all my best friends. I got my best friends out of newcomers. And we all have different ways to treat a newcomer. Some of us are drill sergeants. Get down, push-ups, 5th step, 10th step, blah, blah, blah. Some of us are nice, touchy feelings. There are a million ways to have friends. There are a million ways to help another suffering addict. The whole thing is to help another suffering addict. And again, suffering addict doesn't necessarily mean a newcomer. I was suffering a while ago. I was suffering last year. I was suffering so many different times through all these 10.5 years of my being clean. And if it wasn't for the same newcomers that I had helped to come to me and say, man, it's going to pass, It's going to be okay. Hang in there. I wouldn't have had nobody. Nobody. So, this is a good program, and it's amazing how it works. I would be a lonely motherfucker if newcomers wouldn't come in. It would be like maybe 2 of us. Sitting in this room, as far as I know. You know, I'm grateful for newcomers. I'm really grateful. And they come in. We have come in when we were newcomers. They gave us room to grow. If they put us down all the time, we wouldn't have grown. It's good to come in here and take part and do service and let this big wheel going. That's how this thing works. You know, I'm not a hell of a preacher of how to work the steps, how to work the traditions. I do it the way my sponsor tells me to do, and I do it. There are a million ways to do this program, million ways. And a whole bunch, every one of us does it differently. But there's only one way down the bottom to do it. It's not to do the first one. And I've known it from my own experience. The first one will give me a habit. It does. The first one gives me a habit. I don't know. I don't care what it is. It may not even be my so-called drug of choice, but it will give me a habit of my drug of choice, or it will become my drug of choice somehow or another. I love this program, and I owe my life to it. And we don't discriminate the same way drugs didn't discriminate us. You know, I came in here, in my area, I was a foreigner. That's what I was being called, foreigner. Oh, have you met this foreign guy? You know, labeled. You know, there are a million ways to label each one of us. We're so different from one another. I can label all my friends, and they could be like, I would have so many different kinds of friends. You know, I would have Jewish friend, gay friend, white friend, black friends, and they're all my best friends. Women friends, man friends. We don't discriminate here, man. Everybody is welcome. They welcome me, and I'm different than all y'all when I first came in here. I was so different. That's how I felt. And it's so common for a drug addict to walk into these rooms and say, I don't belong here. I'm not like them. So the first wall we have to break as people with time is to break that fucking wall when the newcomer comes in. Welcome home. Welcome home. I love this program. And, you know, one thing that I always try to practice is any addict is our message. Is our message. I don't have to write a book about it. I don't have to get complicate this whole thing, or, you know, intellectualize it or everything else. You know, any addict seeking recovery will lose a desire to use and find a new way of life. Thank you very much.
For the next speaker, we'll have Sister Gloria.
All right. I'm an addict. My name is Gloria. I want to thank God for allowing me to be here, to stay out the way and by Him, to carry the message of hope for Him saving me. Every day I'm not grateful. How I show my gratitude is how I share and care with those who come behind me. This is a touching subject for me. And I'm a real emotional person. Because I struggled to get here. It was not hard, it just wasn't easy. I hit a lot of bottoms. A lot of emotional bottoms. And I overcame. A lot of physical bottoms. And I'm dealing. But the spiritual bottom is where I'm healing. This is a feeling disease for me. And I always searched and seek for love. And my topic is loving. I have agape love. It's priceless. It's expandable. It's caring and sharing of my gifts, my talents, and my time. With who? You. That person, the newcomer. Now, what stipulates a newcomer for me does not mean the amount of time that you may have. It does not mean the new outfits that you may wear and how you look and the tangible things that you get. Because if you don't get honest about how you got them, they'll be taken away. Newcomer to me is that person who's introduced to something for the first time. And a lot of times for me, the newcomer is those who have been around this program longer than it has been in existence and can't stay clean. But this program has taught me not to judge nobody, because I know he who judges will be judged. So I have to keep coming back to find out what it is in me that I see in you. And that day, I don't care if you're gay, straight, zigzag, polka dot, or crooked. I love you. I'm working on being gay myself. But gay for me does not mean my sexual preference. It means being happy. I know y'all working on being gay too. You know how to come clean. You know, that they might be sponsoring me. I need to leave might out. Because anything that might means it could be is possible. And then I'll slip that doubt in there. They sponsor me. I'm going to come clean. Newcomers do sponsor me. What's a sponsor to me? A leader, a teacher, a guide. Anybody that could show me to a new direction to keep me from killing myself. I'm just a nobody trying to tell anybody about somebody who can help everybody. This thing is real spiritual. But 5 years clean, 7 months, 27 days, and countdown, 17 hours. I ain't used no drugs, y'all. It's not only a privilege, but it's an honor to be asked to share, and especially at a convention. Because I really don't like to talk about the good things that I do. I really know that there's things that I do that money just can't buy. And I'm hooked on money, you need to know. Love it. That's the obsession and the compulsion that I have. Now that the drugs are gone, I'm still stuck with the lifestyle. It don't go nowhere. See, I know money can get me a bed, but it can't get me no sleep. It can buy me books, but it can't get me no brain. I can get some food, but I won't keep an appetite. I can get a house, but is it a home? I can get medicine, but that don't mean I'm going to be healthy. I can have all the luxuries in the world, but if I lose my culture, then who am I? It's that newcomer that helps me get in touch with the reality. My God meets me at the level of all my needs, and He knows what I need, when I need it, and He doesn't give me a choice of how I'll get it. He'll send that newcomer to me, no matter what storm I'm going through. That's why it's real important for me to not always be trying to tell somebody what to do. Because if I ain't got in touch with myself and dealt with some acceptance of myself, dealt with some patience and tolerance of myself, then how am I going to be able to help you with yours? I have to be spiritually connected. And there are those who don't want to be obedient around here too. Will judge you on your faith. But as long as I have a mustard seed and I keep looking up to him who's guiding me, what you think of me don't matter. It's what I think of myself. And I like the newcomers because they got a lot of hope. Because they fresh off the streets. They fresh out the muck and the mud. They got on-hand experience. They may not have the knowledge of the program. They may not have applied the principles in their life, but they know what it feels like to be using and coming up out of the trenches. That's why when I see a new face, it's real important for me as a member, and I'm a member when I say I am, to greet them. The only thing that comes between me and you, whoever you are, is welcome. You never have to live the way you lived before. All you got to do is show up, and I guarantee you, you'll grow up. This program of Narcotics Anonymous has changed me, and it'll do the same for you without your permission. I dare you to keep coming. I love the newcomers. They know how to have fun. I had fun in active addiction, and you better know I'm having fun in recovery. Because if it ain't fun, I ain't going to do it. Newcomers don't have no conscience. I love it. They can hide behind things when they don't want to be responsible. They very judgmental. And I love it. Because I'm striving to get it right, not to just be perfect. And I be very careful of what I say, how I act, and what I do. Because the newcomers watch you real hard. And they tell you about yourself around anybody. They don't know nothing about Anonymous. But ask them to read, and they can't even get out anonymity. And I love them. Thank God for the predecessors that took the time out with me and all my dilemmas. And I was just sitting there crying because I went through a lot of sponsors to get where I am today. But I know I have one who's ultimate a sponsor. And that one is God. And may you find him. And find him now. And when you find him, keep him. And don't ever let him go. And God placed some people in my life that showed me through their actions, and it wasn't in the talk, it was in the walk, that I can get through that first 24 hours without using. I can stop manipulating my way because I ain't out on the street corners no more. I can stop settling for less because I am somebody. I can stand up and stop slooping over or being down on my knees knowing I ain't praying. Y'all feel me, right? And I ain't laying on my back knowing I ain't sleep. They told me. And they showed me that we are more alike than different in here. They said, don't nobody owe you nothing. We didn't send you no invitation to Narcotics Anonymous. But one thing is that we're glad you're here. Welcome. And please, please keep coming back. And when I heard that, I was all right. Because where I come from, they didn't call me to come back. I could be a block away, they'd say, here she come. Turn the lights out, cut the music off, lock the doors, and don't let her in. Because if she get in, she can see in the dark. The police gonna come. Everybody gonna get locked up. But her. All I can do is just cry some days. Because I don't ever want to go back to the getting, the finding, and the using of drugs. That's why I work real hard on not using people. Because people are more toxic than the drug for me. I'm getting better, y'all. Things come and happen beyond my control. I never knew nothing about powerlessness until I came into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. Now I don't care what you do, I'm powerless. I never knew nothing about acceptance till I came into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. You do something to me I don't like, I accept it. What I'm saying is, I know a side of me that I don't ever want y'all to see. That's that image that I'm holding and protecting. That's that negative, vicious, vindictive side of me that don't look good. Because I don't know how to come out. And I know can't none of y'all bring me out when I get there. Because I know me. Only through doing some step work I found out that part of me is just arrested. Because the drugs is gone. And I'm not using no more. I done been tested to see if I want to use again. I was diagnosed with cancer and they told me, you must take drugs if you want to stay alive. I'm here to tell you that myth is a lie. I haven't used nothing. And I don't plan to. I'm not using, y'all. And I'm telling myself that. Because if I look for one of y'all to tell me, you might not tell me. I instilled in a newcomer the hope that I have. And that is, work on being happy. Because a happy addict won't use. You'll deal with life on life terms. And you'll cut out the bull crap in God's time and not in people's. I don't run nobody's life. Because mine ain't all that together. But what I will tell you is, anything that I have, you can have it. Because it's only lent to me anyway. And all I got to do is share it with you and not harbor it. And God will bless me with something better. It's a good feeling. If you ain't been there, keep coming. Keep coming. It's real important, newcomers, to know yourself. Stay open around here. They told me you cannot get a new idea on a fixed mind. Take the mask off. You can wear all the makeups you want. Pretty soon, it'll go away. You could be around a lot of people. But how you feel when you go home, Glow, and you're by yourself? Can you sleep at night? Yeah, I wear a lot of clothes to keep from really looking at the insecurities of myself. But there's some things in me that I don't like. But the hit is, there ain't nothing I can do about it but accept it. I'm talking about having one breast. But I found out in here, a newcomer ain't got none. But they ain't using no drugs either. It don't make me be less than a woman to have one breast either. Because I'm still a woman. I know some people don't have none trying to be like me. That's the joy of living. Whatever your process is, keep on. Stay on it. Just don't use. That's the most important thing the Narcotics Anonymous has taught me. Recovery is my responsibility. Keep your head to the sky, Glow. You can do it. One day at a time. Sometimes that day is so long. I got to take a time out. And every time I take that time out, before I even get time to spend time with me, here come a newcomer. Newcomer don't have no patience. They want what they want, when they want it, and give it here right now. I love them. It's easy to get that energy going when you got it going. I know y'all here at the convention and y'all just ain't been no sleep and just like you're geeking. Because if you ain't, then, hey, why you here? I got that rush. You better know it. I don't care how tired I am. I'm geeking. I want to go hear this one share. I want to go hear this one share. I want to go hang out with this one. I want to be a part of the happiness. Newcomers got that hope. Keep that hope alive. Don't let nobody steal your dream. Because it's hard to get it once you lose it. I let the newcomers love me. Because I know when I fall short, what I give to them, they're going to give it back. So I don't be around here playing with my recovery. I give you straight up from the gut what's going on with me. I don't have no image and no egos. Because who you see is who I am. And if you could see through me, you'll be looking at my heart. And my heart tells me to keep the focus, hold on to the faith, and follow God. Because he ain't going to mislead me. There's people around here that I want to tell you, if nobody told you that they love you, God loves you. And so do I. And you just keep coming. You'll find out that your work is never finished. This is everlasting and ongoing. I'm looking at some people's faces, and y'all don't look the same when I first met you. And it's not necessarily because you use the drugs. And I believe because the literature says I'm entitled to my belief. And I believe it's because you done found a newfound freedom from active addiction. Uh-oh. This thing is spiritual. And when you loving somebody and they loving you back, what more can you ask for? I feel good. I look good. But more importantly, I'm working on being good. I had a sponsor, God rest his soul. Brother Jack told me, he said, Gloria, in order to make it into this program, you must change your attitude and find some gratitude. And that holds on to me. And when he passed away, before he passed on his dying bed, and we were holding hands, he says, I take my hand out of your hand and I place it into my Father's hand and walk like you never walked before. That's why I love the newcomers. Because they come up in here walking from all walks of life. And they help me get outside myself when I don't know how to. Or when I want to hide behind the steps. Or when I want to manipulate them with my clean time. But then Brother Jack comes to mind. And then I get open again. And then I have some newcomers that came in here with multi-diseases. And see, we only in each other's lives for a short time anyway. And I know my purpose. I can get in a lot of service work, but I'm glad that I have a service position that I'm not nominated in by the flesh. I don't have no specific duration of time or how long I serve. And I'm not judged. Because as long as I'm doing my best, I know he's okay. And I'm talking about God, the ultimate authority. I let the newcomers sponsor me because they're going to tell the truth. Because I know they threw just for the moment, if nothing else. They finished just for that day. And I hear a lot of times newcomers would like dump on me and just spill their guts. They don't know they doing them steps just running their mouth. But that's part of sponsorship for me, being a listening ear. Because if I can't listen to you, then how am I going to be able to know how to help you? And I learned I better had than dealt with some issues myself before I try to like tackle yours. I keep coming to get in touch with me, to learn more things and not use in the process. I'm really emotional, but I just want to tell you that no matter what, just don't use. Have fun and don't use. Be responsible and don't use. Take a risk and let somebody sponsor you and don't use. Work on some patience and tolerance, because your way is not the only way. But just don't use. Not using will become a way of life. And you'll find out the life that you used to live was useless. I see the pain in the newcomer's face. You ain't got to say nothing to me. I can look right at you until I can see right through you. Because when you connected to him, you'll know these things. I not only have two eyes, I have a third eye. That's a gift from God. That's a talent that I have that I really don't like to talk about. But it might be a newcomer that's sitting in here that has a third eye too, that's never got in touch with it. That's the eye sponsorship. This program is spiritual, physical, and mental. And it don't matter what my bottom was, I just know that I'm through. I hit a spiritual bottom. And they don't call me sister because I'm no nun. I have sex with preachers, senior citizens, handicapped, blind, crippled, and crazy. They got real show money and the work ain't hard. And now God is doing for me all the times that I wouldn't do for myself. Just give it back. And that newcomer is the most precious gift from God to me, to keep me right here in the rooms in Narcotics Anonymous. That's why I keep coming back, because I got friends that's coming that I haven't even met yet. In order for me to meet them, I must be here. So I show up. I used to come early and stay late, but now I come late and I stay late. I'm getting better. Work with me, please. The hardest thing for me to do is ask for help. I know I'm not alone. But in this process, I love the newcomers when they say, keep the focus on you. They hide behind the cliches and won't do no steps. They have humor. If you keep coming in here trying to be all serious, hiding behind the steps like you so profound, you Mr. Miss NA and you famous all of a sudden, watch it, because you'll fuck up. You will fall. If you around here character assassinating people and pulling them down and drill sergeant them, telling them to do stuff that you ain't doing, huh? We do that. It comes back. Especially when you really need them and they don't want to be bothered. Be careful what you do to people. Not just label them because they newcomers. Because you don't know the difference between new or old around here. Because they new in time, they old in age. And a person up in age set in their ways. It's a terrible thing to see an old person out there still geeking. I know I may be the only basic tech that they ever know. It ain't impressive for me to just come in here and share with y'all how I'm living. It's how I'm living out there. When the last time I done hugged somebody who's stinking? When the last time I done sat down on the curb and listened to somebody real crazy that really wants some help and don't know how to act? When the last time I done placed somebody in my car knowing that I got somewhere else to go? I'm talking about the selfless part of me now. Knowing that I'm real tired, don't want to be bothered, but I done gave you my number to call me, and then when you call me, I don't want to talk. I'm never too busy. I have a life to live. But I know that my God is not going to put too much on me that I can't handle. Because when I turn my back on one of you, I've shut the help off for me. I don't ever want to forget how I felt walking through the door. For the first time, the drugs was gone, and I found out I was scared of people. And when I came through the door, y'all hugged me. And y'all said, welcome. You asked me, did I want some coffee? And you instructed me to sit down. And I did just that. For 6 whole months, I made meetings all day, every day. From sun up to sundown, I made meetings. I went to the meeting before the meeting, during the meeting, secretary's time. I didn't run up out the room because I ain't had no money. I don't even smoke, and I used to run out the meeting to try to get a smoke break. Thank you, baby. They told me that the secretary time was the most important time of the meeting. They said, if you don't have no money, don't worry about it, because we know you're smoking. We know you're using. We know where your money went. But it's going to come a time, if you keep coming back, you're going to hear something that you're going to find a new way to do it without using. And that money that you have in your pocket, you're going to put it in the basket to show to keep the doors open for somebody coming behind you. They said, don't worry about it. Just don't leave. Touch the basket, because the blessing is in the basket. And I was all right. So when secretary time come, I couldn't wait. They was giving out announcements, and they was telling us where the meetings was and who was having an anniversary. And in Washington, D.C., we have eating meetings. And I love eating meetings. Food is bait. And I would sit down, and I didn't know the people, and the people didn't matter. When they said,